Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. We're going to have a look in the files in this video again, because there's a few other things that we didn't have a look at yesterday, and also we're going to talk about a few statements from Esmin about this update, and also the future, basically concerning vehicles and issues that people have with this update. Now, people have asked me about when do I think this update's going to come out. With the Rush dev server, with Christmas coming up, it's going to have to be next week, right? And we'll talk about it a bit later on. Also, they have announced the Panzerhaubitze 2000 Premium and also the Tiger Bundle Premium. We'll talk about those tomorrow as well, since they're not available until the update comes out, so you don't have to worry about them, but we'll talk about general pricing and other stuff. So, let's get into this. As always, if you enjoy the content, make sure to subscribe and also like the video. This is an American battleship that you see before you, the USS Colorado. It's in the files, but didn't make it into the dev server, and it is actually pretty cool because it has access to something that America has been wanting more of for a long time, and it is the 16-inch guns. We know that from this update, America is going to get the big bangers. They've been stuck on lower caliber guns for the longest time, and this one, being part of the Colorado class, will get access to them. So it has two turrets here with dual mounts with the 16-inch guns, and then two on the back as well with the 16-inch guns too. Now, unfortunately, this one didn't make it to the dev server, so it's very hard to work out whether it's going to come this update or not. I'm pretty sure it's going to, though. It has 14 5-inch guns as well, so you can kind of see them along here, like in these mounts. And also, actually, these might be smaller mounts. No, I think these are the 5-inch guns. And then also you have these guns down here, which look kind of like 5 inches as well, maybe 4.5. Then you have technically some torpedo tubes on this thing, and a bunch of guns as well in this form here. So some AA support for 20 millimeters, some AA support for the good old Chicago typewriters. There's a bunch of stuff for this vehicle, and as you can see, it's a thick boy. Like this, this is not a small, like slender vehicle. It has these huge areas on the side where it has some additional armor. The armor on this thing should be around about 350 millimeters, and then also on the turrets about 450. So this is going to be a very large banger coming in for the Americans. And yeah, just a ton of turrets all over the place, a ton of crazy weaponry, and a lot of fun. So hopefully people enjoy it. Now it's time to talk about the USSR once again. We talked about yesterday this big old glide bomb that they're bringing in, the 3,000 kilo, right? Well, it turns out there's a bunch of other ones that are also in the files that have turned up. So you have this one. This is the UMPK Fab 1500 kilo. So it looks like they've attached this kind of device to pretty much everything that's around. And then this was the 3000 that we had a look at yesterday, by the way. So this is the massive one. But they have plans for a 500 as well, which has the tail fin on it. So it looks like they're going to spread these things out to a lot of different vehicles. You have the 500T, then you have the M62, which is the one which is right here. This is the 54, and then also there's a 250 variant too. So glide bombs are becoming a much bigger thing in terms of War Thunder, and it looks like the Soviets are going to get all different types of them, along with, of course, other nations getting stuff too. So pretty cool to see. And some more news about the files. So first of all, there's a new unused pylon texture. This is for the Mika NG for the Rafale, so a very advanced Mika, but obviously it's probably not going to come this update. They did talk about the Rafale getting Magic 2s, but that's about it. Then also there was more textures for the event Kafir, but we've had the event announced today, which of course has the Kafir, the MB151, the T80UD, and also the Kirishima. So let's get into some comments from Esmin about some other things. So of course with update season comes Esmin trying to put out as many fires as he can as a community manager. trying to quell some fears that some people have about the next major update. Now, this major update also seems to have a pretty quick turnaround, so we'll probably be seeing the vehicles next week, but of course, with certain announcements like the BMD and of course the Eurofighter, there's a lot of skepticism about what this update is going to look like and what people want to see. So the first comment that Espen put out was, "Hey guys, we wanted to clarify that we have plans for a researchable BMD variant in the tree next year. As we mentioned, other variants were always within our plans to bring to the game. So, if you don't want to purchase the BMD4M, or if you don't want to buy the BMD4 off the market, then there will be a BMD in the tech tree next year," which is good. It's nice to see that they're doing that. I wish it was the other way around. I wish we got the tech tree version first and then the premium version, but obviously that doesn't really make a lot of sense from an economical point of view from Gaijin, and that's why they've done it the way that they have. So don't worry if you don't want to buy the BMD4M right now. There will be one in the tech tree next year, which is great. They also confirmed, obviously, Magic 2s are coming to the Rafale, but there was a problem with the dev blog. I haven't gone over the dev blog yet in a video, because to be quite honest, I just wasn't really feeling it. One of the problems with looking at the Rafale and also looking at the Eurofighter is they had two vehicles that are heavily anticipated by a lot of people, and also they were nowhere near finished on the dev server. We had 3 iterations of the dev server being updated every single day, and the vehicles were completely different each time in terms of what their characteristics are. And as we've talked about many times, these vehicles, it's what they are on the dev server is never what they are on the live server. The F-15E completely changed from the start of the dev server to the end. Even stuff like the Su-34 completely changed as well, and that should be seen as a standard. But instead, we always complain and argue about the flight performance on the dev server, even though it really doesn't matter, because the product that you see is not the one that it ends up with. But anyway, Esmin clarifies that the Magic 2 will be coming to the Rafale, because one of the things that happened with the dev blog with the Rafale, it was written and then it was edited before it was published. So they'd written it obviously beforehand, and then the devs decided, okay, we're going to give it Magic 2s too. So somebody put in about the Magic 2s about the dev blog, but didn't remove the part where it actually talked about the only missile being the Mika. So it's just one of those things where obviously miscommunication, and what they said about in the covert disclosures a few months ago about how all of these, dev blogs are prepared beforehand, they're all translated, there's a ton of people who check them. It's not always the case, and that's why I really dislike the kind of ways that sometimes these things are talked about, because I know through how the system works, that isn't how it works, and it's just kind of annoying. Now, one of the things that was also in the leak lists that people saw was the J10 and the J11, new variants of these Chinese vehicles, and therefore people have been asking a lot about where are they coming from, where are they going? And unfortunately, Esmin says, hi, China received the J10 and Mirage 2000-5F not too long ago. As we mentioned, the focus for this major update is on those nations who have not had a new top fighter jet for some time. So it looks like the J10 and the J11 will not be coming this update, which really shouldn't be a surprise. The basic thing is you do want to promote specific nations at specific times. This is a update for the Eurofighter, for stuff like the Rafale. If you start adding other vehicles in at the same time, it becomes less special. And also, as we've talked about previously, there are two problems here. First of all, in War Thunder, 100 to 200 vehicles get added a year. So if you don't see it this year, you're probably going to see it next year. And then the part after that, we have a problem where so many people only play minute areas of the game nowadays. So now everybody wants their own thing, and there's not a lot of crossover nowadays between, you know, playing different tech trees. It's kind of like how I saw quite a lot of people complaining that American Air wasn't getting anything this update, even though they've had the most dominant aircraft since the last update and also the previous 2 years. But the fact is, they're not getting anything, therefore that's annoying, right? Because they haven't got the other areas ground out, which is why I feel like next year one of the big things that has to happen is they have to start adding in ways of people being able to get through other tech trees, and we'll talk about those kind of things as the weeks go on. Then there is another comment from Esmond, which says, as we previously mentioned in the last CM disclosures, new SPAs are planned next year. Regarding other weaponry, sadly not everything has a direct counterpart. It doesn't mean we have plans to create fictional weaponry to turn one thing into something else that it is not. So basically discussing, like, if a specific weapon does a specific thing, then they're going to try and model it that way. Unless you're a brimstone, which means you're only allowed some of your capabilities because you're too strong. Same with like the Pars missile, but it's more about the fact that they are modeling them realistically. They're just not giving them all of their features, right? And the problem with this statement is it's exactly correct, but for some reason it isn't taken into account in terms of what the devs have been adding to the game. If it is understood that there is not a direct counterpart for something, then it therefore should not be added without any type of counterpart and take over the game and make the game miserable, because you're basically chasing the pony. You're chasing the dragon around the place, trying to get it to breathe fire. And that is a problem with how these things are set up, and it's basically been the problem since the dawn of time in War Thunder. The other part of it is somebody decided to leak some classified documents on the Typhoon. I'm pretty sure they were just export restricted stuff, but once again, we're going to have to make a video talking to people about how these things work, and also how the internet works, and how it's a big fire hazard right now for pretty much every government around the place, especially with the world getting increasingly more vigorous, I think is probably the word I'm going to use. So those are the CM statements. Looks like we have a lot to look forward to in the new year, and also at the same time we have even some more stuff for this new update. Hopefully you guys enjoy the winter event, hopefully everything goes well, and I will chat to you soon. Look after yourselves, peace be with you, see you next time. I'd just like to thank GMG Smiley, CD Beans, Chieftain Mike, EMN3 Galaxy, Tulio Pontecorvo, Brendan Quinn, Carrion Crow, Gus Irenicus, Pyman, Wartinder, Teddy, Daniel Stanton, Martinez, B. Young, Ozzy Panzer, Alan Hacker, Liam Shear, Opium Prime, Lafouche, Sem Aslan, Uncle Bean, and Derek R. for supporting the channel.